Welcome to Anchored and Able. Think for a moment about a time when your plans, maybe plans you laid very carefully, just took a totally unexpected turn. How did you respond? Was it just a setback in your mind? Or maybe could it have been something more?
That's a great question to start with. It really is something we all grapple with, isn't it?
Yeah, this whole journey of trying to, steer our own lives, but at the same time, sensing there might be this larger current at play.
Exactly. We naturally want that control, don't we? To have the map clear directions.
We do. But
Yeah.
what happens when the ground shifts under our feet?
That's the core of it. It's such a fundamental part of being human, this tension between our planning and the reality that life just unfolds,
Hmm.
often in ways we really didn't see coming.
Right.
We put so much into setting goals, charting out where we want to go, and yet there's always that feeling, isn't there, that our view is, well, limited.
Limited, yeah. Like
Yeah.
we only see a tiny piece of the whole picture.
Precisely. And a wider view might show connections, maybe even purposes, that we just couldn't have imagined from our vantage point. So the real question becomes, how do we, navigate that space, that gap between our intentions and what actually happens?
Yeah, and it's not really about just throwing our hands up and abandoning plans altogether, or just letting life push us around.
No, not at all.
It feels more about how we hold those plans,
Yeah.
maybe a bit more loosely, with a readiness to see something beyond what we first understood.
Exactly. Holding them with open hands, perhaps. Because we have to accept that our understanding is always going to be, well, partial.
Right. Our field of vision is just narrow.
It is, and there might be this guiding hand, you could say, or just a different perspective that leads us down paths we wouldn't have picked ourselves.
Paths that maybe turn out to be more meaningful in the long run.
Potentially, yes. Which brings up, a really crucial point. How do we build up that kind of trust, especially when things really don't go the way we expected or hoped?
Well, we've been thinking a lot about this, haven't we? Particularly around this idea, what we might call an eternal perspective.
Hmm.
It's not about having a crystal ball or predicting the future.
Yeah.
It's something deeper.
Yes, precisely. This eternal perspective, it isn't about knowing all the answers or seeing every single step ahead laid out.
Okay.
It's more about placing our trust in the one who is guiding the journey, believing that his understanding just encompasses so much more than ours ever could.
So it's a shift.
It's a fundamental shift, yeah. From really clinging tightly to our own blueprints, our own plans, to trusting the wisdom of the master architect, if you will.
That really reminds me of that passage we were looking at from Proverbs. In their hearts, humans plan their course.
But the Lord establishes their steps.
Yes. That one really gets to the heart of this whole thing, doesn't it?
It does, this delicate balance. We plan, we dream, we have that capacity, but there's also this sense that our steps ultimately are guided or established by something or someone beyond us. That's such a foundational idea. And it doesn't make our planning pointless, not at all.
No.
It just suggests there's this complementary reality happening. Another influence at work, one that can, redirect or maybe refine the plans we've laid out so carefully.
And these shifts, these redirections, as we've been thinking about them, maybe they aren't failures, not really setbacks in the way we usually think of them.
That's such a helpful way to frame it. I like that.
Instead of derailments, they're more like reroutes.
Reroutes, yes.
Yeah.
That takes away some of the sting, doesn't it? That feeling of failure or disappointment, it just suggests a change in course.
And potentially towards something better, even if we can't see it yet.
This reframing is just so important, I think, because if we automatically label every unexpected twist as negative, as a problem.
We get stuck or resistant.
Exactly. We resist growth, we shut down new possibilities. But if we can start to consider that maybe these reroutes are actually leading us towards something more aligned with a greater purpose,
It opens things up.
it opens us up to a journey that might be filled with blessings we never anticipated.
To make this a bit more concrete, think about that story, the one about the young medical student in Ghana.
Ah, yes.
She had such a clear path mapped out, right? Medicine, she was working hard towards it.
Very dedicated, yes. But then she felt this profound pull, a calling towards missionary work, a completely different direction.
Completely different. And what's so compelling, I think, is what she said about it afterwards.
A reflection on it, yeah.
She said that even though it wasn't the life she'd planned, she felt this deep sense of being in step with a larger purpose.
That feeling of alignment, even when it means letting go of our own ambitions, that speaks volumes, doesn't it?
It really does. And her story now Apparently, it encourages others to think about purpose first, maybe over just personal gain or ambition.
It certainly challenges our usual definitions of success. Is success just hitting the targets we set? Or is it maybe finding that alignment, even if it means changing the targets?
Right. And then there's that other story, the family in Norway.
Oh, yeah. Powerful one.
They had poured everything into their business, their dream, and then boom, an economic downturn they couldn't control
Duh.
just wiped it out.
Devastating. Losing a business like that, it's not just financial, is it? It's dreams, it's identity, it's
Right.
countless hours just gone.
Absolutely. But their response, that's where the insight is.
Yes. They didn't just crumble. They took what they had, their experience, maybe their resources, and started something new.
A local outreach center,
Hmm.
meeting needs right there in their community, needs they might never have even seen if the business had kept going.
Needs they were perhaps uniquely positioned to meet because of what they'd been through.
That's possible. And their perspective on it all, looking back.
That's the key part.
They said, the loss was terrible at the time, obviously. But they came to see that God had a, quote, bigger plan they couldn't have imagined. Right in the middle of that loss, that pain, it just highlights this whole idea, doesn't it? That even when things seem darkest, there might be a purpose unfolding that our limited view just can't make out yet.
It connects right back to that eternal perspective we were talking about.
Exactly.
They weren't only focused on the failure of the business, the disappointment. They stayed open somehow to the possibility that this awful turn could be part of something more, something beyond their immediate grasp.
And for them, it led to this new path of service. Meaningful service.
A path they wouldn't have chosen, but one that clearly had purpose.
So, okay, what does all this mean for, for you listening, for us, as we navigate our own lives day to day?
Well, I think it comes down to holding our plans, our ambitions, maybe with a slightly more open hand.
Recognizing that there could be a wisdom, a guidance that's greater than our own shaping our steps.
And that maybe those unexpected turns, those detours, maybe they aren't random at all. Maybe they're those reroutes.
The key then, it seems, is finding some kind of peace, even when things feel uncertain.
Yes. And that's not about being passive, is it? It's not just shrugging and saying, whatever happens, happens.
No, it feels more active than that.
It's an act of trust. Trusting that even when the path forward is foggy, unclear, there is a guide who sees the whole landscape, who has that broader understanding.
Believing the reroutes have a purpose, even if we don't see it right away.
Exactly. Choosing peace in the uncertainty because his perspective is just bigger than ours.
It really comes down to perspective, like you said, and that takeaway thought we landed on feels right here. You don't have to see the whole picture to trust the artist.
That's good. The artist.
God's vision is always clearer, kinder, and higher than ours.
That image of the artist, it's powerful, isn't it? We're down here maybe focused on one brushstroke, maybe confused by it, not seeing how it fits.
Yeah.
But the artist sees the whole canvas, the complete vision. And placing our trust in that vision, even when ours is so limited, well, that can bring a really deep and abiding peace.
So as you go about your day today, maybe think again about that time. That time your plans shifted unexpectedly. How did you respond then? Did you see it purely as a setback? Or, thinking about it now, could it have been an invitation? An invitation, perhaps, to trust in a direction beyond your own understanding. And what might that mean for you right now?